Hey, what's up, everybody? Basically, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys how to do the flip key conversion for your Dodge Magnum. This is my factory key right here. If you can take a look, I kind of had the issue where the key ring snapped off the actual portion you put it through on the key there. My car is 2006, so these keys have been pretty good to me, but you know, I actually broke this at the track racing at Modern Street Hemi Shootout. When I pulled it out of my key in a rush, it actually, out of my pocket in a rush, it actually snapped off the keychain. So for the last couple of months since then, I've been going around trying to make sure I don't lose this key. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this all works. This is the flip key that I converted it to. See how it just pops open like that? It's nice because it kind of resembles the Volkswagen key for like the newer Jettas and stuff like that. But let me go ahead and show you how all this fun stuff works. Basically, you take a look at the back of this. There's one screw right here. Let me see if I have a screwdriver handy. Yeah, I thought I had one right here. Hold on. Yeah. Let's try this again. So anyway, take your screwdriver, jewelry size screwdriver. We take a look at the key blank, flip it around to get the one screw on the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the screw. Make sure you hold on to that because you're probably gonna want to hang on to this key blank. But what you do is you pop the back of this off. You take a look down here in the base of the key. There's a little cut in for like a screwdriver. So you can take like a flat bladed screwdriver, put it in there, pops it right off. Now you take a look at the inside of it. This part already actually has the circuit board taken out of it. The circuit board has a battery and it has space for 4 contacts, but for a Magnum, since you don't have the trunk opener, there wouldn't be, another button right here. So if you have a Magnum, you'd only have the lock, unlock, and panic right there. So even though it may show you that there's 4 different contacts on it, you're only gonna be using 3. So there's a rubber insert that's in here. Mine actually tore years ago. Take a look at it. So I've been just kind of biding my time before I get a new one. But this pops right back out. Anyway, the circuit board you just take out of here, kind of put that aside. I'll show you what it looks like inside the flip key, but you take a look at this. What you have left over is the key blank. So what you do at this point is you'd order your new key blanks. Okay, you take the factory key down to Lowe's or wherever else, and when you get this will actually come blank. So what you do is you take this down, and they'll compare, this key to this one, and cut them. Now the only thing is, these, I think I got these for like $12 for like 2 of them, so they're not that bad. But make sure if they have 4-packs. So what I would do is I would order the 4-pack, and I would have them cut one and go out and test it with the car. Now remember though, the circuit board is a transmitter, so when you put the key in, even if the key fits and you're able to turn the lock, if the transmitter isn't reporting to the computer, the car won't enable the ignition. It may do it a time or two, but then after a time or two, you won't be able to start the car. I learned that the hard way because of this being ripped. Had a whole bunch of water to get to the inside of the key, and it actually shorted out one of the boards on me. I was out there checking the ignition. I was using my ignition tester. I was basically scanning the computer to see if there was a problem with the computer, and it wasn't telling me there was a problem. It was just that the security system was shutting off the ignition because the transmitter wasn't transmitting. So let's go ahead and pop this open real quick. There's 2 screws in this. There's one down here that is actually for the rotating assembly here. Don't take that apart. That'll get you all messed up. But there's another one back here. Now if you take a look at that one, I'm gonna open that up real quick. Okay, it's a little screw up. Make sure you don't lose that screw. Okay, now if you take a look at this piece of metal, when you go to open this, that piece of metal is actually held in by those two pieces. So you see how it popped out when I wedged this open? Okay. Once that's open, you have the inside of the key. So this is the factory key. Okay. This is actually where the back of the factory key, see where it would say Dodge right there? This would actually be fitting battery down against where the Dodge symbol would be on the key. See what I'm saying? So what you do is you pop that loose, take your transmitter. You see the key now that I've opened the back of it? You're going to take that, you're going to put it battery down like it was in the factory key. See? Now the only other problem I had was when I got this, these kind of come universal. Now, as I said before, if you take a look at the factory key, see how there's 3 spaces right here? Okay? There are 3 spaces in the flip key for a Magnum if you're getting the Magnum replacement one. Okay? They send it with the trunk button on the bottom here. Now, if you run into that problem, and I do vinyl, so I have all sorts of knives and stuff sitting around, but what I did was I took my knife, my X-Acto knife, and I got in there and I got as close as I could to the button and I sheared it off without cutting through. I don't think it would be a real big problem if you did cut through this. See how it's still solid here? I don't think it'd be a big problem if you cut through it, but I just cut the button even, because if you take a look at the flip key, this is a solid piece right here, and if you flip it over, there's no place for that button to come through it. So it'll actually push these buttons down. You see what I'm saying? When you go to put that in, it'll actually push these down because this part wouldn't fit. So I sheared that button off. So getting back to what we were showing you before, the circuit board fits in there. Then you take your key holder, this one, take your little inserts here, the pad cover, insert that into the top here. Okay. Now what I would do is, when you're looking at the key, I'm going to go ahead and close the key into its closed position before we put it together. And I said, remember before, battery down. This is also a good time to replace the battery if you haven't done it for a while, because if the battery's bad and you have it all apart, you might as well. They're CR2032s, I think. So, yeah. So here's the top of the key case. What I would do is I would take the case here and I would basically combine these two together, because you want to make sure that the keypad has a good seat to it when you put it together. You want to make sure those buttons seat properly. Now also, before you put that back together, you want to take that ring that's on the end of it, the little metal ring, and you can see where there's some knobs in there that this will seat up against. So put them in. There's a little tab you got to push into the part that holds that the screws to on the front. You got to push that down for that to close. So let's put the plastic in there, close that, it'll clip back into place. So now I've got my buttons. Okay, and now we're going to take that little screw that I took out of the top here. See where that is? Okay, put that back in. Take my little jewelry screwdriver. You're going to need a jewelry screwdriver. The screws are pretty small. And just close it up. There you go. There's your flip key. And see how the buttons are nice and flush with the rest of the plastic casing? That's because I cut that, I had to cut that piece off. I wouldn't cut through it. I would just shear the button off as close as you can to the rest of the rubber. Alright, and that should work. So the only other problem I had was when I had these cut, you take a look at the length of the keys. This key is a little bit longer than this one. So the problem I have is when I put the key in the ignition, it goes in just a little bit too far. So I slide it all the way in, and I pull it out just a little bit and turn it, and it runs just fine. So that's why I said get the 4-pack. Try one at a, have them cut one. Make sure that the cut's right, and then go out to the car. Try it in the car. Pull it back just a little bit, like I was showing you. Make sure it starts, and you should be good. So if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. And thank you. Have a good night.